In 1931, a respected American psychologist brought a baby chimpanzee into his home and began raising it in every possible way as the twin sibling of his own infant son. Same crib, same food, same clothes, same lessons, the same discipline, the same affection, every single day. He wanted to answer one question that had never been tested this directly. If you raise a human child and an ape as identical siblings, which one starts turning into the other? 9 months later, he shut the whole experiment down, fast and permanently. Not because it had failed, because of what the answer turned out to be. The psychologist was Winthrop Kellogg, and by the standards of his field, he was no crank. He held a doctorate, held a serious academic post, and had spent years fascinated by a specific problem. How much of who we are comes from our nature, the biology we're born with, and how much comes from our environment, the way we're raised. For decades, the only evidence anyone had were rare, horrifying stories of so-called feral children raised by animals or in isolation. Kellogg found those cases useless, uncontrolled, unverifiable, impossible to study. So he proposed the reverse. Instead of a human raised as an animal, he would take an animal and raise it with total scientific rigor as a human. The problem was finding a family willing to let a chimpanzee live as one of their children. Kellogg solved that by volunteering his own. In June 1931, a chimpanzee named Gua, a female, about 7.5 months old, was brought into the Kellogg household in Florida. Waiting there was the Kellogg's own son, Donald, who was 10 months old at the time, almost the same age. From that day forward, the two were treated as identically as humanly possible. Both were dressed, both were bathed and diapered, both were fed the same way, spoken to the same way, tested the same way. Kellogg and his wife, Luella, ran a relentless daily battery of measurements: blood pressure, reflexes, memory, dexterity, fear responses, how each one reacted to being spun in a chair or startled by a loud sound, recording everything, comparing the human and the ape point for point. And in those early months, one of the two babies kept coming out ahead. It just wasn't the one you'd expect. Gua developed faster. In a whole range of tasks, the young chimpanzee outperformed the human child. She was quicker to obey simple spoken commands. She learned to drink from a cup and eat with a spoon before Donald did. She was more physically coordinated, more alert to her environment, faster to solve certain problems. For a stretch of that first year, if you scored the two of them on paper, the chimp was winning. Kellogg had expected the opposite question. How human could a chimp become? What he was actually watching was stranger, and it would only get stranger, because there was one wall Gua never got past: language. No matter how human her surroundings, Gua never spoke a word and never could. She simply did not have the vocal anatomy or the neural wiring for it. Kellogg kept waiting for the ape to start talking. She never did. Meanwhile, something was happening on the other side of the nursery that Kellogg had not planned for at all, and it is the reason this experiment has a sudden, hard ending instead of a tidy conclusion. If a scientist raising a chimp and his own son as twins to see which one changes is already the kind of story you can't look away from, hit that like button. It tells me these strange corners of history are worth digging into. Tell me in the comments what you think the answer turned out to be before I say it. And if you're not subscribed yet, now's the time. Because what made Kellogg pull the plug is the part that still unsettles people. Donald, the human child, was imitating Gua, not the other way around. The boy had started copying the chimpanzee's behaviors, her movements, the way she'd scratch or bite, the way she moved around the house, and most striking of all, he began to copy her sounds. When food appeared, Donald had picked up Gua's food bark, a short, sharp chimpanzee grunt, and was using it himself. Instead of developing the human words a 19-month-old boy was supposed to be reaching for. The experiment had been built to find out how human an ape could become. Instead, it was quietly turning a human child into a passable imitation of an ape. On March 28, 1932, 9 months in, the Kelloggs ended the study and sent Gua away. Most researchers agree the timing was no accident. The science was pointing somewhere the parents were no longer willing to follow. Gua was returned to a primate research colony. She never lived as a human again, and she never fully readjusted to living as a chimp either. A little over a year after leaving the only family she'd known, in December 1933, Gua died of pneumonia. She was 3 years old. Donald grew up, apparently healthy, and the food barks faded as normal human language took over. The Kelloggs wrote a book about the whole thing, The Ape and the Child, and it became one of the most famous and most debated psychology experiments of the century. And here is where the story turns genuinely haunting, though it demands to be told carefully. In the summer of 1972, Winthrop and Luella Kellogg died. A few months later, in early 1973, their son Donald died by suicide. He was 43. It is tempting, and many retellings do exactly this, to draw a straight line from the experiment to that ending. But the honest answer is that there is no evidence connecting the two. 40 years separate them. Donald lived a full adult life in between. To blame 9 months of infancy for a death 4 decades later is a story we tell because it feels like it should be true, not because it is. What we can say is smaller and sadder and real. A man built an experiment to measure the line between animal and human, using the two things he had closest to hand, a chimpanzee and his own son. One of them was dead within 2 years, and the questions he was chasing about nature and nurture are, nearly a century later, still not fully answered. If you want more stories like this one, real, forgotten, hidden in the details the official version leaves out, watch the video that's on your screen right now. Here on It Sounds Like Fiction. But it's history. There's always one more secret waiting.